Hi everybody, I hope you and yours are well. Are we allowed to lie? Well, the Torah tells us not to. As a matter of fact, it says, Midavar sheker tirchak. We should go far away from saying a lie. We should really distance ourselves from falsehood. And many great people did do that. An example is a rabbi who was in a store and he was praying. There were no customers there. And a customer came in and wanted to purchase an item. And he offered a price for the item, and the rabbi couldn't respond because he's in the middle of praying. So the man thought that, this rabbi is playing hard to get, so he upped the price of what he was willing to pay. The rabbi still didn't respond, so he upped it again and again and again. Finally, the rabbi finished praying, and he said, I will accept your original offer. He says, what do you mean? He says, I was in the middle of praying, I couldn't answer. When you said the original price, I agreed to that price. So even though you're willing to pay a lot more, I didn't want to go against my mental word that I thought I would do. Now the question is, if we're not allowed to lie, who's the worst person to lie to? Well, last week's and this week's portion gives us an answer to that. In last week's portion, we know Lavan, the uncle of Yaakov, was a shyster and a trickster. After Yaakov works for 7 years to marry his daughter Rachel, Lavan gives him Leah. And when Yaakov says, hey, what'd you do? He says, well, in our place, he rationalizes, in our place, the older one has to get married first. But if you work for me for another 7 years, I'll let you marry her after 7 days here, and then you work for me another 7 years. Later on in the portion, in last week's portion of Vayetze, when Yaakov leaves, Lavan chases after him and says, the animals are mine, the daughters are mine, the children are mine, even though Yaakov had worked for 20 years, very hard, day and night, to be able to have that. And in this week's parsha, we have Shechem, the son of Hamor, the head of the city of Shechem, who violates Dinah and kidnaps her. And he has the audacity to try to see if Yaakov could give his daughter to him in marriage. No shame. And several weeks ago, we talked about the importance of being able to say, I'm sorry. But in this week's parsha, we actually learn that the greatest lie is lying to ourselves. The Talmud teaches us in Eruvin 19a that the wicked, even at the gates of hell, of Gehenna, don't repent. And the concept is that even though they are in the world of truth and intellectually know what is really right and wrong, they're so enmeshed in their habits and behaviors that they still can't acknowledge what they did wrong. When we can acknowledge what we're doing wrong, then we have the opportunity to improve. And we have the opportunity to become the best that we can be. That's not what Lavan and Shechem were about. May the Torah inspire us to be honest with others, and especially be honest with ourselves, because that's the way to become the best that you can be. When we can look into the mirror and be honest with our flaws and our virtues, that's how we become the best that we can be. Have a wonderful, great, and special Shabbos. All the best.